I was trying to explain to my wife this morning what was going on with Jeremy from the Quartering. She follows a lot of the same people that I follow on Twitter, so she came to me and asked, what's going on here? Why are all these people arguing? So I explained to her about how Jeremy had basically come out and said that the reason, in his opinion, that Comicsgate isn't growing anymore is because we stopped going after the mainstream industry and turned, and in his words, I think, we set our sights on each other. To which my reply was, what do you think we've been doing this whole time? With all these Indiegogo campaigns, what is that if not setting our sights on taking on the industry? I don't know what he is expecting. I mean, obviously he's on the outside. He's on the outside looking in. He's not there day to day. He doesn't see everything that goes on. But I mean, you know, there's a couple of big industry names in Comicsgate. In Ethan Van Sciver, obviously, John Malin. But other than that, you know, there are others, obviously. You know, Billy Tucci and a whole bunch of guys. I'm not going to be able to remember everyone right now, but, you know, what did people expect? That, you know, Cyberfrog would launch and Jawbreakers would launch and just Batman and Superman and Spider-Man would be no more. That wasn't even the goal. Comicsgate is taking on the industry by creating our own IPs and running our own campaigns. What else does take on the industry mean? You know, we used to be fighting the mainstream guys because not only because they were putting out trash, and you know, that's still happening. There's good, you know, there's some quality stuff in the mainstream, but you know, a lot of it is still the same as it always was ever since you know, sort of 2014 going onwards. But another huge part of it was the way they were acting. That was a massive part of it. You know, treat the customers right. Don't call them Nazis. Don't go on a Twitter threatening to bash cis people's teeth in with a baseball bat. Don't send critics of your work close-up shots of your butthole. And, you know, as far as I can see, that's stopped. I don't know if that was a concerted effort, or, you know, the companies really put their foot down on social media, but the fans aren't under attack directly from the pros right now, as far as I can see. At least it's not any way as bad as it was in 2016. So if they're not attacking the fans, why would we be setting our sights, as Jeremy puts it, on them, going full on war mode? This is another tweet I put out saying, who's the bully then? If they're not attacking you and you're attacking them non-stop, who's the real bully? And that's what we've been doing. We've been fighting back with our own books through Indiegogo, and we've raised millions of dollars doing that in a couple of years. So I don't really know what Jeremy's talking about. It seems to be going great from where I'm looking at it. I don't know what he expected, but he says Comicsgate is fractured. To which I respond, if Comicsgate were a plate, you would think fractured would mean a crack right down the middle. At which point the plate wouldn't function anymore as a plate. But Comicsgate is functioning. The campaigns are making tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars. You've got new guys coming up who, without Comicsgate previously, wouldn't have been able to make $1,000 on a campaign, who are making tens of thousands of dollars and gaining huge audiences. That didn't exist before. So going back to my analogy of the plate, if the plate was fractured, it wouldn't be able to hold any food, so to speak. It's not fractured. What it is there's a little chip on the side of the plate. You know, it's not a perfectly pristine thing anymore. There's a little chip on the side. And like me, I just choose to ignore that chip. It doesn't bother me. I don't go and scratch at it. I don't look at it. And you know what? I barely ever see it and it doesn't bother me. I can't answer as to whether or not CG is growing or stagnating. I mean, it seems pretty lively to me. I don't know how big Jeremy thinks it could have gotten. Comicsgate comics have always been, and probably will always be, a niche market. And getting new readers has always been a struggle, ever since the choice of entertainment has just skyrocketed in every direction. And we're all competing as forms of entertainment for eyeballs. So yeah, I don't know what he expected. What does make sense is that, I mean, you can't just look at, Ethan Van Sciver's campaigns and your boy Zach's campaigns and say, look, when he first launched, there were, he had many thousands and thousands of backers and, hundreds of thousands of dollars for one book. And we're not seeing that as much anymore. Those guys' books are making, the Expendables new book is on 100 and something thousand, and if you get over 1,000 backers now, that's a huge deal. But when those original campaigns launched, that was it. If you wanted to support this real breakaway from the mainstream movement, you could help by supporting Jawbreakers, and then you could help by supporting Cyberfrog, and that was it. So of course all the money and energy filtered into those two projects, but there are literally dozens of projects going on at any time, and they're not cheap to back, especially if you're international. I have to think about, I couldn't get Narwhal's hardcover pretty much just because the shipping was too much, so I opted for the softcover. We can't all just back every single book. You have to be discerning. So it's going to be harder and harder for certain campaigns to reach those results that were in the stratosphere when we started, as more and more competition comes into the game. That's just the nature of how things work. Show me somewhere where someone who doesn't have a name for themselves, who's got a small audience, who doesn't have a known IP, can come out and make thousands of dollars on their first campaign. That never existed before. That is taking on the industry. That's what it is. So yeah, I hope you liked this video. I just had to get something off my chest. Thanks, Ethan, for retweeting my tweets. It's always great to get a bit of megaphone onto some of your thoughts. I'm thinking I might do more videos like this in the car because I'm just so time poor, and you know, every day I have to drop my daughter off at school, and you know, this is just wasted time otherwise. So maybe I might just pump out a few more of these you know, quick and easy videos while I'm driving, while I'm not doing anything else. Let you know what I'm up to, elucidate my thoughts on anything that's happening. So yeah, hit subscribe if you want to see more like this. Give us a like, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.